Everyone's present. I think it's time now. We will call our meeting to order. And we will go ahead now and just make sure everybody's ready. All right. Let's call this meeting to order. It's our pleasure to call this meeting of the Natchez Mayor and Board of Aldermen to order. I'll ask everyone to please stand. And I want to say this before the prayer and the pledge. I see this as the first meeting of the second half because we just celebrated our first half last week with our Say of the City, and over the weekend, Sunday, officially marking the day, July 24th. And so what a pleasure to be here now doing the people's business. And I'm going to, as a result of that, I'm going to say the prayer tonight and ask that you join me as we pray thanks to our Father and ask for his continued blessings over Natchez. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for, first of all, a wonderful 2 years. You have brought us through so much. You've brought us through a national pandemic. You've brought us through challenge when so many things were happening in our community. And we do not forget those who suffered loss, especially those who suffered the loss of loved ones during the COVID pandemic. Father, you brought us through that. You brought us through hurricanes. You brought us through ice storm. You brought us through so many other things. And in the midst of all of it, you revealed to us your blessing, your favor. And truly so many things have happened, and we give you the thanks. And now here we are, the first meeting of the second half, Lord. 2 more years to go in this term. And so as we start this third year, we ask for your continued blessing over us, your continued blessing and favor over Natchez. Father, you have, I know, opened a window of opportunity, and let us be a people who are faithful, who will make the most of it and not squander that opportunity, but realize it is precious because it truly has come through your grace. Now, Father, as we go through this meeting, we would ask your blessings on us as we deliberate all of the issues that Natchez is dealing with at this time. And Father, we do thank you for our freedom. We thank you for each person on this board and each person in service to our city, our county, asking for your safety. And Father, just thanking you for everything. In your precious name, in the name of Christ, amen. Amen. Now join me, please, as we repeat together our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. We'll ask the clerk to administer the roll call.
Okay. Alderwoman Hall.
Here.
Alderman Frazier.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderwoman Irving.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman Dillard. Alderman Dillard.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, all of the president accounted for.
All right. Yeah, we got you. Thank you, Alderman Dillard. Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we are going to ask that you would allow us to suspend our normal agenda to allow an item to come up before us in interest of his time, and that is our attorney and bond who helps us with our bonds and municipal investment strategy, Mr. Peyton Prosper. Mr. Prosper is here tonight from Jackson, the firm Watkins and Eager. And if you'll now go with me to the mayor's report, we have some items to discuss. These items we actually have been discussing for some while. We've had numerous meetings, and we have looked at this in many ways. We've looked at various numbers, and we also discussed this, and it was shared at our State of the City event on Thursday night. And so it is time to move forward. The city of Natchez is in very good financial condition, and we are so grateful for all the work that has gone on in the years before us and during this term to get Natchez to the place where we are now. we have the benefit of being within 2 years of retiring a bond on our convention center. And a portion of that retirement fund is in escrow now, having been placed there when the bond was refunded in 2018. Because of that, it puts the city in a very good financial position with regards to the convention center. And so I'm going to lay this out in order and then ask Mr. Prosper to come up and turn it over to him and Mr. Callaway. But we have an opportunity now to issue another bond on the convention center to be paid for by the tax dollars that are specially allocated to the purposes of maintaining that convention center and also servicing any debt. In that legislation, it also applies not only to the convention center, but that legislation and that special tax applies also to the auditorium, the city auditorium, and also the civic center, which we currently are calling the community center, but we are about to have new signage. It is our civic center. And so we are looking at an issuance of revenue bonds that will accomplish $5,350,000 in renovations to the convention center, the auditorium, and the civic center, broken down as follows: $3 million, the convention center; $2 million, the city auditorium; $350,000, the civic center. And the reason for doing this is so that we can drive demand during this time as we begin marketing Natchez as the most affordable city in America. We want to highlight the fact that we have already a great convention center, a great auditorium, but they are in need of renovation. And once we renovate, we can then drive more and more activities to those locations, and the civic center working in harmony with them. This will mean more revenue for Natchez merchants, our hotels, our bed and breakfasts, our downtown shops and restaurants that are so close to the convenience store, the convention center. Y'all, I've been working a lot of hours, forgive me. The convention center also brings major conferences here, and the more we have, the better that is for everyone overall. The auditorium, with the $2 million we're looking at, the auditorium can become a major venue for concerts, in addition to continuing to be a great place for Natchez organizations, festivals, including Mardi Gras, the Natchez Festival of Music, and others. I do want to say that as we look into this, we're looking at new audio visual. We're looking at new lighting. We're looking at modern and improved facilities, better restrooms, definitely, both at the convention center and also at the auditorium. But we also are wanting to put that Natchez touch and make them truly destination event venues in their own right. This was inspired by a visit we had in spring with the director of the Mississippi Tourism Association, Danielle Morgan. We hosted the Governor's Conference on Tourism this spring. It was the most successful and best attended conference in the history of the MTA for that spring event. But Ms. Morgan pulled me aside and said, can you imagine just how much better it could be here if you would renovate your convention center and put it at the level where it can compete with quite a few other very modern convention centers in the region, especially throughout the state. So we started that. So that is on the agenda tonight. The second item, it was brought to our attention through our bond counsel, Jamie Holloway, with Government Consultants, that the projection for 2023 and beyond, when considering the Internet Modernization Act, is in excess of $1.2 million. These are funds that the city has not been appropriating in years past because these are new funds, And we just finally this year appropriated just a small amount, 200,000 in our budget. But the actual number in 2023 will exceed 1.2 million. The Internet Modernization Act was passed by the Mississippi Legislature in 2018. It became effective in 2020 for the purpose of returning to the cities a portion of sales tax derived from internet sales. 1/4 was appropriated by the state to the municipalities in 2020, 1/2 in 2021. I would say 2/3. I guess I should say 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, and now in 2023 it will be a full 100%. As I said, over 1.2 million. By law, we have to use that for our streets and infrastructure. And so what many cities are starting to do is to take whatever that is, take a portion of it, and use that to fund a bond for their streets, going no more than 10 years. And so we are looking at $6 million for our streets to be funded by a portion of that new user fee. It's actually an internet sales tax in layman terms, and it will that 1.2 million, a portion of that will go to pay for that bond. And then lastly, we have recognized that in taking a look and renovating convention center, auditorium, civic center, using the strategy to also set up an escrow account for the next 2 years' payments, we can immediately free up significant money in our budget to not only take care of the projects I've already mentioned, but also to take care of $2 million in other projects over a 5-year bond term. But these projects would be done in the very near future. And it would be funded by some of the money that had been going to the convention center bond that now is almost 2 years away from being retired. And then a portion coming from what has become a very good income stream for us from the casino. And that goes into an account called the Community Development Fund. That fund is carrying a healthy balance, and that balance and the incoming funds each year are more than enough to carry a $2 million bond. And that $2 million bond, just to complete out the list, we would be looking at $125,000 for the new 911 department to be located at the police department, $200,000 from very much needed repairs to our fire departments, making sleeping quarters, living quarters more suitable, and taking care of some very important needs. $250,000 to go to the north end of the bluff for better utilities so that we can better support major events such as the Blues and Soul Super Bowl that's coming in October featuring Patti LaBelle. No longer would we have to see the event organizer go to the expense of generators, but we would actually have the utilities we need there. This city council chamber building, especially this area here, we are including $100,000 for needed repairs and renovations. We also are including $100,000 for the Duncan Park Canteen Community Center, and that is a community center and polling precinct. It has not been for use in some time as a community center. We want to restore it to that use, but also locate our recreation offices in that building. And then this is very significant, provide $150,000 for Hiram Revels Plaza. We are dedicated to seeing that project through to completion in honor of the great Hiram Revels, the first African-American to ever serve in either house of Congress, at the federal level. And that is being seen as matching funds, because we're hopeful we can then match that to grants and get even more. And we thank the efforts of Far Natchez and the Downtown Natchez Alliance in helping us, along with Zion Chapel, a major partner with us in getting this done, Reverend Verdun Mitchell and Norma West. And then, exciting, we want to complete the North Natchez Youth Center renovation and also all phases of phase 1 for the Duncan Park Golf Clubhouse. As everyone knows, we have come up short on funds. It's been reported. And a lot of that is because of the inflation we're experiencing, and our recreation bond is not going to be sufficient to finish both of those projects as we would like to see them finished. And we recognize that, as I said a moment ago, we're in the second half, and we only have the second half to go, and then there's another election. And we want to make sure that all of these projects are done while we are here and can make sure they are done, because we can't leave to chance that they would be done in the future by a subsequent administration. And also, we're moving on this tonight because interest rates are starting to climb. And we believe that if we want to do this, we need to do it now while we can hopefully lock in good interest rates. So that is the strategy. I just needed to go ahead and get it out there for everyone to absorb. I know it's a lot of information, but at this time, I'm going to now turn it over to counsel, Mr. Prosper, and also our city attorney, Mr. Callaway. I will entertain discussion once we begin making motions, and we will make those motions one at a time. There will be 3 items now to discuss, starting with the convention center.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members of the Board of Aldermen and women. I'm Peyton Prosper with Watson, Eager, and Jackson, and had assisted last year on the Parks and Recreation project, and am again privileged to be before you tonight concerning the 3 undertakings by the city. And we'll start with what we can call the Convention Center project. You have before you a resolution of intent in the not to exceed a maximum amount of $8 million. And those funds will do 2 things. It will provide approximately $2.2 million to refund the existing 2018 refunding bonds, for which the city will have 2 payments, one July of 2023, one July of 2024, that will total approximately $2.2 million. And it will essentially remove those, it's called defeasance, and it will provide the city the means of paying them off in advance. The second component of the up to $8 million convention center will address the improvements the mayor spoke to at the convention center proper, the auditorium, and the civic/community center. All 3 which really work together, I think, with respect to conventions here in the city. And to do this, we will use the Mississippi Development Bank as the issuer, because the 2 components of this deal, one, the refunding, that will be done on a taxable basis. The new money piece for the convention center complex, I'll call it, will be tax exempt monies, and it requires a little more expertise in marketing these bonds, and that can be handled most effectively, I think, Mayor, and all the men and women through the Development Bank. And this was in consultation with government consultants and Jamie Holloway, who's advising the city as municipal advisor. As the mayor pointed out, these will be funded through convention center taxes. And that's the interesting point about these three projects. They all have different purposes. They all have different streams of revenue to support them. So that's the convention center project, Mayor, which will, I think, as with the other two, will likely be closed or will be funded in maybe the second week of October. But one thing to keep in mind about these resolutions of intent, they are what is deemed official action by the city with respect to these projects. And that means it's the beginning point, and it's the point from which you go back 60 days in bond funds can be used for expenses incurred 60 days prior to official action. Official action will be July 26, 2022. So the importance of getting this underway is to pick up any engineering, architectural expenses and otherwise associated with some of these projects. And even though you don't have the money to pay them until perhaps October. So that's key. If I may, like I said, the maximum amount is $8 million. The actual bond amount could be less than that. It could be in the 7.75, 7.8 range. In order to provide a little bit of cushion there. 15 years. If I can move to the next project.
I think we'd like to take care of this one at a
Okay,
time.
let's do.
First of all,
Resolution of intent before you.
the motion needs to be to approve the resolution of intent for the purposes of renovating the convention center properties and also establishing funds for, as you had described.
The refunding of the 2018 bond.
That's right. I want to just say that bond, however, I want to make sure we understand this. That bond is not being retired. It is going to be seen to its maturity of 2024. We are simply setting aside an escrow account that will pay those payments for the next 2 years to be added to the money already in escrow, $653,000 that is in escrow now.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Thank you. I just wish this is the first time seeing this to give, so you could have some genuine questions to ask. I mean, because sitting here tonight, I'm looking at 3 different sums of money, and I know he said the maximum amount, but to be able to ask true questions myself, I'm speaking for me.
Yes.
I don't have that authority because I just got here and received. Is it any way we could have gotten this resolution
Well,
earlier?
the resolution is the resolution. We had a meeting yesterday.
And I understand.
And we had a meeting which you attended 2 weeks ago. We've had, I've lost count of the meetings. There are several meetings, that we have had on this,
And I know-
that
and I-
various members
I have
have been
this.
invited to. And those questions have all been covered in those meetings. We've had educational meetings for some time. So at this point, we have to proceed because these interest rates are going up and the
And I
project's
do
ready.
understand. And my next question is, and I guess you're taking one at a time. So it's the one that we're discussing now, we said we're doing $5 million. I'm all in favor of convention center.
No. It's
That one.
it's the convention center. The $5,350,000 is the new money that will go to these projects. We spelled it out. But the actual bond itself, as Mr. Prosper just explained, will be in the neighborhood of 7.7,
So the 8 million.
7.8. We are voting on resolution not to exceed 8
8
million.
million. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But any questions you have, we are passing the resolution. We still have a public hearing to go.
Okay.
We still have the budgets to establish. And any of those questions you have, Alderwoman, just simply let us know what they are and we'll make sure you get the answers. Okay?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Frazier.
there's 3 resolutions that we are doing today on this one.
One on each
Each
of the
one.
3 projects.
Okay, 3 projects.
3 in total.
I will reserve my comments when we get through on these 3 bonds.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Frazier. Any other discussion?
Call for the question.
Second.
The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Abstain.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it with 1 abstention. Motion carries. Thank you. The next item, Mr. Prosper.
Mayor, this next item is what I would describe as the road and bridges bond. As you mentioned, basically the online sales tax law was adopted in 2018 and has been phased in. Proceeds of the online sales, internet sales, have been phased in to the municipalities. And with the expectation that the city of Natchez will realize $1.2 million in 2023. The payments are made twice a year, once in January, once in July. And you get approximately half of the $1.2 million. You'll get half of it in January, you get half of it in July. And these bonds will be sold as general obligation bonds because it strengthens the credit and will have an effect on the interest rate that you will receive. And it will be better as a result. But it is the full expectation that from legally available revenues, including these use tax dollars, that the entire debt service will be paid. And not simply the entire debt service will be paid by these monies, but the municipal advisor, this is being done all over the state. The municipal advisor that is serving the city of Natchez has recommended that no more than 50 to 60% of those online sales tax revenues coming to the city be used for debt service, which will leave the city with an additional $400,000 or $500,000 for its infrastructure needs. That is, it's not the purpose to take the entire amount and put it on debt service for bonds. So it will be sold as a general obligation, but the use tax dollars will pay the entire debt service, and leaving $400,000 to $500,000 additional in the coffers of the city. Now, as you pointed out, these monies can be spent on streets, roads, bridges, and or water, sewer infrastructure. Those are the 2 purposes for which these monies can be used, and to pay debt service for bonds that provide financing for these 2 types of infrastructure. So, as you pointed out, these would be 10-year bonds, and the expectation is that they would be bid conventionally, and banks and financial institutions would be contacted and would submit bids for these. And again, the expectation would be that this funding would close in the second week or so of October. However, as I mentioned, this is official action tonight. If there are expenses, engineering or otherwise, that are incurred within 60 days prior of tonight, then they could be reimbursed with proceeds.
Thank you. It's a very clear-cut explanation and strategy, and I think the 10-year bond term is very reasonable because it allows us then for the city to do this again. I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution allowing for the city to proceed $6 million, not to exceed $6 million for bond for street repairs as so described.
Second.
The motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion on the motion. We'll call for the question.
Call for question.
All right, we'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item, Mr. Prosper.
The next item is what I will describe as a capital improvements. It's a fairly straightforward capital improvements, city capital improvements project. The expectation is that it will be right at $2 million, maybe a little bit more. And for that reason, we've done a not to exceed or maximum amount of $2,250,000. Mayor, you've gone over the projects that involve community centers, police fire, the council chambers, Rebels Plaza, and the others that will be paid for out of this capital improvement funds. These bonds will be sold as general obligation bonds. Again, that strengthens the credit. It lowers the interest rate that you will receive. But the expectation is that they can be paid from legally available funds. There is no expectation that millage would be required whatsoever. And you mentioned that there would be a portion of this debt service that would be paid from the casino tax. These would be 5-year bonds, Mayor, which means you would be paying them off pretty rapidly, and which would clear decks for the city in 5 years or so to undertake needed projects. Again, it would be sold pursuant to bid, much as we did last year with the Parks and Recreation bond. But again, casino tax for this particular project, it won't cover all of the debt service, but there are other revenues available to the city that would enable the city to make debt service without millage. So I'm happy to entertain any questions.
And so just to be clear, while the agenda says a note, this actually is a bond because of legal restrictions on cities and the percentage they can use of their actually help me, Megan, I know you've been researching it. Our total assessed value.
Right, so the quick step note to do this as a 5-year note rather than bond only allowed us to borrow up to 1% of our assessed value, which didn't quite get us where we needed to be to complete these capital improvement projects.
Yes.
So going at a 5-year bond allowed us to borrow the amount that we needed.
That we need. A very clear-cut explanation. Thank you. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to approve the resolution for the purposes of a not to exceed $2.25 million bond for the projects that have been so described.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
made by Alderman Davis,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion on the motion.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
Let me say this to my constituents and to the citizens of Natchez. On these bonds, I had a grave reservation about some of these bonds. My concern was that the spending of this money and the long-term effect that it probably will have on Natchez. As the mayor stated earlier, we only have 2 more years left in office. And I was just concerned about, because what I didn't want was that we do all this now and in the near future that we end up in a deficit of a city being in debt. But I didn't really understand it. So what I did, I had a very, very fruitful conversation with Alderman Dillon. And I asked him what was going on and explained some of this to me. You know, if you don't know something, you need to ask someone and find out what's going on. So me and Alderman Dillon, we had a lengthy conversation, about an hour, and he went down the line and explained everything in this bond issue, what needs to be done and what needs to be done in the future. So I would just like to say, some of these, like I say, some of these projects I had questions about, but they need to be, some of them need to be done and need to be done at full speed. So I just want to say that I'm gonna vote for this because, like I say, it is for the future of Natchez to move forward on this. So that's the only discussion that I have on this. I talked to him, like I said, I talked to Mr. Dillon about the convention center, the city auditorium, and the civic center. He explained to me about the bond, and like I say, I went on to talk about I was fully aware of the north end, the bluff end, all the chamber company, so I'm fully aware of what's going on there. But these other projects, like I said, I had reservations, but now I have to explain to them. I'm really on board with it. Thank you.
I really appreciate you. Thank you, Alderman Frazier. I really appreciate.
Well, you did thank the Alderman Dillon for
And Alderman Dillard, you know, and we do work together. Yes, I do.
I'll be up here right now.
Thank you. We will entertain further discussion. Any further discussion? I'll just say I'm excited about this list. So many things that we'll be able to see accomplished, and we will definitely be able to say in 2 years that we made the most of the time given to us. So thank you. We'll call for the question. All right, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion, I will call by roll call. Alderwoman Hall.
Aye.
Alderman Frazier.
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you so much. Mr. Prosper, I know we have a few questions, and that is how soon this all will transpire. It is our understanding that we will have a public hearing in August. Of course, the RFPs will go out, or the advertisement. Once we have that public hearing in August, that will take place on all of these on the same day. Am I correct?
August 23, 6 p.m., second meeting of the month.
And that is then when the calendar will start on actually being able to fund it. I mean, we will have gone through the public review process by then, and then we will be working to get the proposals.
You would adopt a resolution that night, proceeding with notices of sale, assuming that there's not 1,500 citizens good and true who bring forward and seek an election.
Yeah.
But assuming there's no protest that justifies that, you would adopt that resolution, and you would also adopt a resolution then setting forth the notice of sale for the, I'll call it $2 million capital improvements bill. We bond a notice of sale for the $6 million road and bridges bond, and the financial advisor, government consultants will prepare credit packages that would be distributed to as many as 300 financial institutions soliciting bids. I think we had 4 bids last summer on the Parks and Rec bonds. And then with respect to the convention center project, after August 23, we engaged with the Mississippi Development Bank. It would be their bonds that will actually be sold, secured by city bonds that will be bought by the development bank, and then they sell to the general public market. And that will be, a portion of which will be put in the 2.2 taxable refunding bonds. We'll generate 2.2. We'll put that in escrow to go with the 635,000 that's in there now to pay the next two payments on the 2018 refunding bonds, July 1, 2023, July 1, 2024. And they'll sell a separate series of bonds. Series A refunding, Series B would be the new money, and that would be done on a tax exempt basis, better rates. And for the new money projects for the convention center, the auditorium, and the community civic center. So that's a little more complicated mechanism for financing, but it can achieve, I think, a more positive, effective, beneficial result for the city, because you've got an underwriter that would be engaged, who is surveying the market, contacting and all. It's not just, here's our credit package, y'all send the bid back over the transom. It allows the true engagement with the market to get the best transaction deal for the city with these two moving parts, the refunding and the new money. So I would expect that, again, mid-October, these monies for all three will have been funded. And the city knows, as I've just shared, that you can go back and repay or reimburse expenses incurred 60 days prior to tonight.
Okay. All right. So we're in good shape. And in fact, what that means is our planning and then eventual implementation of all these construction and renovation plans can begin immediately. And that is what we hope to do. Obviously, it will all take time, but it would be my hope that over the next 6 months, we will get to that place where then construction will definitely be underway. And I would hope that in the year 2023, people, depending on weather and time of year, I would expect that around springtime of 2023, people can expect to start seeing the street improvements. Would I be right?
Absolutely.
Obviously, we've got to work on the list. Well, the board will still have a lot of decisions to make. But tonight is a great night. It's a great start. The Natchez renewal, it rolls forward. And like that river, we are one strong current. I just thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to thank Mr. Prosper and Mr. Holloway. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you very much.
I think I speak for Mr. Holloway as well. Very grateful for this opportunity. I don't take this for granted in any way. And Natchez is arguably the most significant city in this state. And deserves, I think, all the resources that can be brought to bear to make it as good as it can.
Thank you.
Amen. We agree with that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prosper. And Mr. Calloway, you have done a lot. Thank you for helping us get to this place tonight. We'll now return to our agenda, and we will call on the clerk for approval of minutes.
These minutes that I'll be asking for approval, these were the minutes that we had deferred at the previous meeting. I believe we have heard from some of the board on corrections that they saw needed to be made. So I'll be asking for approval of the following minutes with any further necessary corrections that may possibly be identified. Start with the June 14th, 2022 regular board meeting.
Well, it's the pleasure of the board.
So moved. Second.
A motion to approve by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
And this is on the fourth page, the top of the page, and I just don't recall a dollar amount. It's down on the second from the last two paragraphs. It said a motion was made by Alderwoman Hall, Alderman Dillard, to authorize the transfer of opera funds for payments of eligible payroll expenses as needed, not to exceed $1 million that would go into the next year. And then it has a breakdown. You see that? Do you see that, Megan?
You said page 4?
I said page, not front and back, but just the top, front of the page.
I'm sorry. I was looking for.
That's okay. And I do apologize.
Sorry.
And if
On
I'm
page
wrong, you,
4, I'm seeing the clerk's report,
okay, so,
and you're looking at June 14th?
yes, ma'am. 2, 3, 4, yeah. Second paragraph from the bottom. I'm not doing front and back, just the top front of the paper. And it's the second motion, to the last.
Okay, do you have an answer there? Is there something that needs to
Then we'll
be?
go into the next, what I'm
Inserted?
asking is, yes, sir, what I was asking is, I didn't know we put these definite amount of 1.35 million when it came to us and we were asked about, funds for our police, fire, emergency personnel. We didn't have a dollar amount. We just said that we would, you would come back to the board to ask for funds from the opera funds. That was what was said. I didn't know we had a dollar amount of $1 million. If it was used for payroll, then the clerk would come back to the board and
Oh.
say the amount.
Right, and so this was just the not to exceed amounts
Mhm.
that are listed here.
Okay,
So, you know.
but you're
for-
still coming back to the board? Okay.
Right, and actually I have some of those transfers on my report later that I, am bringing to you all and get approval on. But yes, so these amounts were not the exact amount of the transfers, but the not to exceed amounts. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any further discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed now to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
All right, the next set of minutes is the July 1st, 2022 special call meeting that was held at the Natchez Museum.
It was a
Again,
pleasure.
with any necessary corrections.
It was a pleasure of the board. Alderwoman Irving has made the motion to approve, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion? We will call for the question.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
We don't have any visitors officially on the agenda. City business, other city business, unfinished business, county business. So we'll come now to the department director reports. Mr. Johnston, you are recognized.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
he is not present tonight. I believe he didn't have anything for tonight. He was
Okay.
holding his items until the next meeting.
Till the next meeting? Okay, no report then. All right, thank you. Next item, Joseph Daughtry, Police Chief. Chief Daughtry is not here tonight, but we do have Commander Justin Jones. Commander Jones?
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Good evening. Okay, all right. We do have two things, however, that we do need to take care of, Commander Jones, that Chief Daughtry put on, and then we will meet with you in executive session. But I do need approval. We have received an award, a grant through the Mississippi Department of Safety, and that is a Mississippi Highway Safety Grant in the amount of $100,000. It is to offset overtime expense. I referenced this in the State of the City on Thursday night. It will help our officers to better enforce speed limits, to better enforce our laws against DUI, against other unsafe driving practices. So in order to receive the money, we need to approve the grant. This is a 100% grant. No match has been required.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Irving. Any discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We also need to renew our grant writer's contract with the city. She obviously is doing a very good job for us. Ms. Addie Stover, and it's my understanding that it will be, help me, Alderwoman Smith.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the
Yes,
motion
if
to
you'll
renew her
make the
contract
motion.
as she's paid currently.
That's my understanding. Okay,
The contract remains the same.
But she's asking,
motion?
the motion is that
She's
the
asking for
contract
increase.
remain the same. The motion has been
Second.
made. It is seconded by Alderwoman Hall. Okay? So she will be under the same contract she's been. Discussion.
she's
Yes.
asking for an increase and, that's with, to consider, her traveling to and from here, from Jackson, meeting pretty often within that department. That was some of the things that was discussed with me and, gas prices have gone up. So she's wanting, to be, that's one of the things that she wants to be taken under consideration. And a month of time spent researching and those kinds of things is the reason why she's requesting the increase.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Mhm.
Well, I know
mean,
she's
we don't want to
doing a
lose
very,
someone over,
very good
for
job.
that amount.
Well, right now, this is the motion that we have. Unless anyone, wants to, yes, Alderwoman
I
Smith.
do appreciate the great job she's doing, but I just, in my research, I think we're paying fairly. I mean, now you can email and electronically send any kind of paperwork. So I mean, she doesn't have to come here that often. So I feel like we're paying her fairly, and I'm very appreciative of the job that she's done. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
All right. And I would like to say this is the first time we've had a grant writer specifically assigned to the police department. And I'm very grateful that we are able to continue doing that. I'll call for the question.
Called.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you, Alderman Dillard. Thank you, Commander Jones. Commander Jones, I also want to make just an announcement. I announced this also at the State of the City on Thursday night, but I just want to announce it again. Last week, the Natchez Police Department received notice that it has been fully accredited as a teaching academy for police instruction for part-time and auxiliary officers in the state of Mississippi. For the first time ever, we now can train officers for any municipality right here for part-time and auxiliary. This is the first step in what we hope will eventually lead us to having a fully accredited full-time teaching academy staff. A lot of work went into that. Great.
Outstanding.
Wow. That's going to be a source of income. Yes.
And Mr. Mayor, I just want to add to that, thank y'all for all the work that y'all did on that, the whole police department, the chief. But I want to add, it's very helpful to some of our smaller towns that surrounding our areas that can't spend the money to travel for long distances. So it's not only will generate revenue for them, but it also will save money for other cities and smaller towns.
That's
Thank you.
correct. That's a great point. Great for Southwest Mississippi. Have we ever had a training academy in Southwest Mississippi? Wow. So this is the first. It's exciting. It is. Thank you. We'll move to city officials' reports. Alderwoman Hall.
Yes, sir. First, I have a couple of items, Mr. Mayor, but first offer my condolences to Lieutenant Ford on the death of his mother-in-law recently and other members of the Natchez Police Department who have lost loved ones. My first item, excuse me. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Attorney, and Board, I move to recall our appointed pool commissioners in 7 days pending their reversal of their improper action of voting to approve alcohol at the city pool.
Okay, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall. Do I have a second?
Second it. I want to talk though.
Alderwoman Smith has seconded the motion. Let me clarify the motion. The motion, could you restate the motion?
Yes, sir, excuse me. I move to recall our appointed pool commissioners within 7 days, pending their reversal of their improper action of voting to approve alcohol at the city pool.
So, in other words, you are asking that they,
Be removed from their duties as
in 7 days,
within 7 days.
if they, but we're asking them to first recall, if they can recall, if they can reverse their vote against
Yes, sir.
alcohol,
That's
they
what
can remain.
That's what it says.
I just want to make sure everyone's clear on it. So we're asking those 3 commissioners to support the city. I know the city desires, and I know the county desires, that we not have alcohol at the pool, and it is our desire that our appointed commissioners uphold that. Alderman Smith.
And Mr. Mayor, yes, I did second that, and I agree with that, because we already had stated that as a, did we make a motion on that as a city?
We did. I
before?
made the motion last month.
Right, so we did make the motion on it. I don't know if that was clearly stated to them or if they heard that, but I don't know if they were told correctly. However it went down, I do appreciate, we have 3 really good board members, appointees that we appointed to that commission. So I appreciate their work, and they're working on a lot of things. But that pool, the intention, I mean, because I've had other people, say different sides of it, and it can sound like, well, maybe you should do that. But that pool's intention was not to be rented out for private parties. It's a recreational pool for our citizens. We don't rent out our soccer fields. We don't rent out our ball fields. And that is a place for recreation for everyone. And with the danger of insurance costs and everything else, we're doing the right thing. And I know that it can be laid out a little differently, where you think, well, that's not bad. There's some events at parks that do have alcohol, and there is some private events that do, but that's private events, and this is just something very, very different. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman Hall and then Alderman Frazier.
this is not a private residence. People can choose to do whatever they choose to do at their private residence. They want alcohol, that's their prerogative. This is not a private venue. This is a city-owned property, and we have the authority to set policy. There was already a policy set that states no alcohol at the pool. Now, for whatever reason, the commission felt that they could go over this board to do that. This is the reason they're going to be recalled if they cannot reverse their decision.
Okay.
And
Thank
I would
you.
like to further state that the 4th interlocal agreement went into effect September 23rd, 2021. By virtue of that certified 4th interlocal agreement, this body should have received a budget July 1 from the Recreation Commission, which we do not have. Therefore, they cannot set salaries for anybody. This body does that, the Board of Supervisors does that, nor can they continue to operate without an operating budget.
All right, that's another matter. We can consider
I just
that
wanted that
after
made
we
known. Yes, sir.
take care of this motion. Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. From my understanding, we are having a meeting tomorrow with the supervisors for the recall these commissioners. I think we should wait before we start when we're trying to remove somebody and see which way the county gonna go. But this is a joint effort, and we need to be on board with it. But I am against alcohol at the pool, but I am just one person. But let me say this too, to each and every one of you and everybody else in this room and in the citizen Natchez. We got to be careful on what we are going to do about alcohol at the swimming pool. Because as you know, the city of Natchez, we have alcohol at the convention center. We have alcohol at the civic center. So we need to be careful. Those are city-owned properties too. And you were talking about, it's still city property in the way it go. So this is just my concern that we might be moving a little too fast on this. And I would like to just say, we need to wait until tomorrow and see which way the county gonna go. And then we can have further discussion. If we want to remove those commissions, that's fine, but it should be a discussion made. And once we have this meeting with the county tomorrow about the swimming pool.
Absolutely.
Further discussion?
I concur with that. I think those
Alderwoman
conversations need to, happen at the meeting on tomorrow. We're
This
gonna,
is our-
be all together. That way, we can discuss the details. That way we can discuss in details.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Alderman Dillard, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I didn't realize this motion to remove the commissioners were coming up, and I'm concerned that it may be interpreted that somehow they bear the responsibility, and I don't think that's the case. I think these are well-intentioned individuals that essentially volunteered for no pay to use their time and their efforts to provide the kind of recreational product that we want to offer to our citizens and, to the community. And I think this is leading into a bigger discussion. And quite frankly, I agree with Alderman Frazier that possibly we could table it or hold it until a meeting after.
Absolutely.
Now, at that point, if the commissioners disagree with the efforts that we take, then, they may have the opportunity to resign. Quite honestly, I did a little research into the code, and alcohol was not allowed at the swimming pool back then. At that time, it was at Duncan Park, nor at playgrounds, nor at picnic areas in certain places. So the precedent is there. I'm not sure these commissioners were aware of that.
Mr. Mayor,
And I think in some ways, we may bear those responsibilities. And I appreciate not getting cut off in the middle of that, but that be that as it may. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor.
Alderwoman Hall.
Mr. Mayor, the commissioners were called, asked to, if they were willing to have a special call meeting to rescind their vote. They were not. They were sticking with their vote for alcohol at the pool.
Alderwoman Smith.
This is, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This is very disheartening, but legally, we have voted for no alcohol. So did the county. I'd like to ask our city attorney, where are we with that? Are they allowed to have a party with alcohol right now or not? Whether they voted for it or not.
I don't think in those minutes it was an official vote. It was a policy stated, but I don't know that. That's why there's something coming up on the docket today to remedy that.
So we have a policy in place that there's to be no alcohol at the
no
pool.
alcohol. Yes.
And the commission voted to rescind that policy, I'm assuming, and put in a new policy. But maybe they aren't educated enough. May I ask, I know you had a meeting, you and Mr. Slover had a meeting with them. Did this topic come up?
Not at that.
Okay, not at that meeting. I'm fine with waiting until after we meet with them, but we have already said in our policy that there's no alcohol allowed.
Yes, we have. There was a policy on
So
record.
that policy stands, and there should not be alcohol at that pool.
I would like to speak to this. I stand in agreement that no alcohol should be served at that pool. And we are on record saying that. The county is on record saying that. It is very different from serving alcohol at any other property because lifeguards' lives are on the line. And studies indicate, and any lifeguard will tell you, that it's a very heightened, dangerous situation when a lifeguard is trying to rescue someone who is intoxicated. And in those instances, it can happen and has happened. If you look back, not here, thankfully, but in other places where an intoxicated individual can drown the very lifeguard trying to save them. We ultimately, and the county ultimately, because this is property that we oversee, that we pay the bills on, we ultimately bear that responsibility. And if a tragedy occurs there, let's say, and God forbid, but a tragedy occurs there this weekend, then anyone who has allowed alcohol to be served at that pool will have that responsibility on their conscience. I do not want that responsibility on my conscience. And so I state firmly that I am in complete agreement that alcohol, as our city policy states, as the policies, as Alderman Dillard has indicated, going back in time state, that alcohol is not allowed at the pool. If it is allowed to be at the pool, well, I want the city to have nothing to do with it. And I want the city to absolutely pull away from that, because that is not a liability exposure this city needs. I am a former risk management consultant. I consulted the Hinds County Board of Supervisors and other public entities and individuals and corporations on insurance liability for many years. I was the risk manager for Hinds County for 13 years. And I can tell you, in my professional background, this is not a risk the city needs. It will also affect our liability ratings with our insurance carrier, and it could cause our premiums to go up, and the taxpayers would have to pay that bill. And so I am very much opposed to the serving of alcohol at the pool. I stand with you, Alderwoman Hall. I stand with you, Alderwoman Smith. And I am very grateful to the commissioners who are willing to serve. However, they have to understand that they serve at the will and pleasure of this mayor and board. And if they enact rules that are contrary to the desires of this mayor and board, then they are no longer qualified to serve as our representatives on that commission. I would hope, time is of essence, I would hope that within 7 days they will rescind that action. If they don't, it is my opinion that they in effect have rendered their own resignations from the commission, because they have indicated by their actions that they are not willing to carry out the desires and policies of this city. In 7 days, a tragedy could occur. In 14 days, God forbid it, but time is of essence. And so I would urge passage of Alderwoman Hall's motion tonight. Alderwoman Irving?
Yes, sir. We're having our meeting on tomorrow with the supervisors. We're all gonna be in discussion the same issue. So I just want to make a motion to table it until tomorrow, whereas both boards will have conversation. And that way we're able to hear from the Recreation Board as well, council as well. So hopefully they'll be at this meeting so we can have the discussion.
I entertain the motion.
Okay.
She has made a motion, and it has been seconded by
Thank you.
Alderman Frazier. However, the motion is to table. However, I
Until
would very
tomorrow.
much prefer tomorrow to deliver the news that this board has already taken
Mr. Mayor.
We
action.
need to vote on it.
But now we have to vote and discuss on the motion to table. And I'll recognize Alderman Frazier.
Mr. Mayor, the reason,
We need to vote on that motion.
A motion to table takes precedence, and now
That's why
we're
we need to vote it.
discussing. We have discussion on that motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Frazier?
the reason why I'm saying this is because, as I stated earlier, and I don't think you caught what I was saying, that I too was, I'm just me, and alcohol at the pool. I say, well, no, if that's what the city wants. But this is why I'm stating this. We need to wait till tomorrow. I do not want people to think that we are trying to bully these commissioners into doing something. But if everyone was on board and we meet with the county, we meet with the city, then the county supervisor say, no, we're not going with alcohol. Then we can say everybody in the county was on board. The county and city, we all was board. But I don't want the commissioners to feel like we are being bullied and them into forcing them into doing something. Because although they are appointed, commissioners do make mistakes and they don't understand the law. We do have a lot of commissions around here, and sometimes we don't agree with them. But we don't try to put no force on them. Once they made a decision, that's the end of it. But I just don't feel that we should be bullying them right now. What we need to do is to wait until tomorrow, and with the county, we get together, have the discussion, and we can settle this all at one time.
Absolutely.
I will
Mr. Mayor,
recognize Alderwoman
I
Hall.
don't think you understood me when I said they were spoken to. They chose not to seek a special call meeting to reverse their decision. That's why I'm taking the action I'm taking tonight. This is a safety issue. It's not common sense to say alcohol and water do not mix.
Alderwoman
This is not a
Smith.
private
My only
residence
concern
where you
about
do what
both
you
of these
want.
motions is they don't guarantee we're not gonna have alcohol in the next 7 to 14 days at the pool. That's what I'm worried about.
I
How can we
actually,
do that?
there is a motion I want to ask for after we take care of this, and I'll bring it. I will ask for that motion at that time. Right now, I'd like to ask for any further comments so we can quickly move. The time is running. Yes, Alderman Dillard, the discussion is on the motion to table.
Again, and I think that there's, I don't want to send a message to people who volunteer their service and their time that they're not appreciated. I truly believe that had the commissioners been put, and what I'm referring to is not policy, Mr. Mayor. What I'm referring to is an ordinance out of our city code, chapter 6, 29, possession and consumption of alcohol free, and it prohibits explicitly from youth league, baseball fields, and swimming pools, and picnic areas and playgrounds. So my argument really just hinges around it. However, I will concede the fact that had that been explained and presented to these commissioners, and they still decided that they were going to go forward, then I have to support to request their resignation from the board, because it is an open define of an ordinance, not a policy, not a practice, not a good thing. This is the city law.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
one
Thank you,
clarifying
Alderman.
thing.
Alderwoman
So
Smith.
if we go with this table, it means if we find out tomorrow they're not going to change it, then they would be removed, because we already have an ordinance in place. Y'all do understand that. That's huge.
I've said that before.
I know, but
So,
this way, we are going to make sure they are
I'm not
well
voting that
aware.
table.
And
I'm voting nay.
so I'll call for the question. Let's vote.
Okay. The question has been called. Second on this motion. Second.
Go.
Yes. Okay. We'll proceed. This is a vote on the motion to table. Alderwoman Hall.
nay.
Alderman Frazier.
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith.
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving.
Aye.
Alderman Davis.
Aye.
Alderman Dillard.
I did, because we're,
Okay.
he's got a motion that's going to cover this.
The motion carries to table, the majority voting aye. I do want to say this, I want to ask for a motion. And this motion is that the city reiterate its position that alcohol is not allowed at the pool, period, and that be immediately conveyed in writing to every one of our three commissioners.
And if they don't obey it, then there will
How many times?
And if they don't abide by it, they will be subject to removal. Okay, so the motion is, okay, the motion's made by Alderman Dillard, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion,
Yes.
Alderman Frazier.
Let me add some gravy to that. The gravy that I want to add it to it is that you said the pool. Let's put some gravy on the pool property,
Okay.
not just the pool, outside the pool, where there's a pool within that area.
Okay, I like that. Alderman Dillard, do you accept that as a friendly amendment?
Absolutely.
And Alderman Davis?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
So I'll restate then the motion just to be clear. The city is on record reiterating its policy, its ordinance that alcohol is prohibited from the pool and the pool property, and requesting a letter be immediately sent to each one of our three commissioners, advising them of this and advising them that to continue in supporting alcohol at the pool will result in a request for their resignation from the commission. Okay, Alderwoman Hall?
I think, I want it on record, I think this is an atrocity that we have to table this issue. That,
Well, this is a new motion.
I'm talking about, we have to table a motion not to proceed with removing commissioners within 7 days. I just wanted to state that, to reiterate that, we had this discussion last month when I brought it up. That no one seems to understand water and alcohol do not mix in a pool or a lake, at a state park, anywhere. That's why they have patrols on water.
Well, this motion will reiterate that, and it will
And we
serve
shouldn't have had
immediate
to
notice.
reiterate it. We should not have had to reiterate that.
But it will
motion either.
serve immediate notice to the commissioners of the city's position of what the ordinance is, and that they have to abide by it, or they will have to resign. All right,
And
Alderwoman
it
Smith.
does accomplish what you want, and it actually addresses the fact that we want to, as of now, we know there's an ordinance. It cannot happen, so I think it clarifies what you
I
want.
think we've known it was an
All right.
ordinance. It was pointed out last month.
All right, we will call for the question. Okay. We will now proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier.
It's on your motion, Mr. Mayor.
It's yes, the
Aye.
one, yes. Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis, Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it, motion carries. Alderwoman Hall, thank you. We will continue with your report.
I would like to thank Alderman Davis and Miss Sonora Cole for an outstanding day at Senator Deering Natchez State Park on July 23rd for Fishing with Fathers. It was well received by the public. 51 participants were there, and thank you, Alderman Davis, for spearheading this event. And we also had a father who brought his baby and his daughter from Woodville, and a couple from Pascagoula were passing through and stopped by to thanking us for doing this event as well. It was well received. There is ongoing communication between Mr. Jeff Southall and Ms. Cole on the renovation of the ball fields. And they will be meeting again this week to begin finalizing some preparations to be brought to the board. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Thank you so much. So grateful for all of that good news and recreation. Alderman Frazier, you are recognized.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. First off, I had Miss Sanders here. I don't know if she still wants to speak. I discussed that with you earlier today, Mr. Mayor, about cemetery. Miss, would you like to make a statement for about 3 or 4 minutes on Marcus Street?
We would have
Not on the
to,
agenda.
we would have to have a
I
motion
can, on my time,
to suspend.
I can let my
We've researched and we have to have a motion to suspend the rules. Is that right, Mr. Callaway?
No,
Guide us.
not on my
Now,
time.
we're not in a public hearing.
We are not in a public hearing,
We are not right now.
and so we do have to suspend the rules. Okay, if you'd like to make a motion
Or
to
open it up to public.
suspend the rules to allow Ms. Sanders to speak. Alderman Frazier,
Yes, I'd like to make,
okay?
Second.
if
Motion.
she wished to speak.
Okay, a motion has been made by Alderman Frazier. Alderwoman Irving has seconded it. Discussion?
Ms. Sanders?
You saying?
No, we have to vote on the motion first. All right, call for the question.
Call.
All right, all in favor of the motion. I'll go one at a time. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis, Alderman Dillard. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We will recognize, and we generally give about 5 minutes to our visitors. And so we'll recognize Ms. Sanders for that length of time. And it's good to see you. And I want to say, as she's coming up, I want to apologize to her. She called the office last week. We were so busy with the state of the city, and oh my goodness, so much going on. I did have my office call her, discuss. It was conveyed to me some problems with some limbs, and we're working with the company now to try to address it. Alderman Frazier, I thank you for discussing that with me earlier
Yes.
today. But I do want to apologize to you, Ms. Sanders, because I want to stay on your good side. Ms. Sanders, you're recognized.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have been working with the cemetery since 2005 with the word division.
Yes.
First thing, when the statement came about abandonment, it has not been abandoned. Family members come out there and cut part of their part, as well as what we do. The city have given a donation since 2012 to assist the word division with paying individuals for cutting. When we don't have community workers, or we used to have community service students, which we don't get anymore. But in talking to the mayor, I mentioned how much was charged to us last year for cutting the grass. And I know with that, the budget that we had, we wouldn't be able to keep it like we supposed to. Although we started cutting in February this year, we had rain all through March. We started back in April and cutting grass. And the last thing to me was that they couldn't, you all cannot increase the budget for the cemetery unless you pay directly to the landscape. And like I'm saying, and the person that's out there now, told me he was hired to cut grass only. Over the last month, I had 2 of the gravel roads graded down. I had 1 tree cut, and about 10 more hanging limbs were taken down. Although, what I'm saying is, don't think that everything is being done how you want. We are still doing, I was to hold this meeting on the regular aspect.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. Thank you.
Although you in trouble.
I know. I'll have to come see you, man. I appreciate you. I will say this, we will talk to the company and make sure that anything that can be done, to address those issues, will be done. Yes, Mr. Callaway.
That word abandon, that's a legal word, and it's just a term of art. We were not saying you had abandoned, you know. Okay, I just want to,
I understand.
well, I have to.
Say the same word to me. So somebody had to also tell me that.
I had to say that for legal reasons in the document.
All right, Ms.
Mr.
Sanders,
Mayor,
thank
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes, Alderwoman.
I have met with someone who works at the Democrat. She wanted to meet me at Watkins Street Cemetery. She's doing a documentary, doing a story, and someone is doing a film on that cemetery. So yes, I did mention the same legal term that Mr. Callaway mentioned. That's how we have gotten someone to help you all in that cemetery. There is a law that allows municipal, otherwise you will not be getting the help you're getting now, because there is a law that allows municipalities to assist cemeteries that do not have the financial means. That and neglect is in that term. So there is no harm to you or no one else. You all are aging. You don't have the resources to care for that cemetery. We are paying someone by law to assist you with the same allocations that we were giving you personally to do that work with.
No,
Ms.
it's
Sanders.
been increased.
Ms. Sanders,
Not the same
I
amount.
just want-
It actually
It's
has.
It's the same amount twice
Right.
a year.
It's not the same amount.
Let me say,
Alderman Frazier, you're recognized.
Ms. Sanders, thank you very much for coming. And I-
Thank you, Ms. Sanders.
Thank
And I feel your
Thank
pain. Like I said, we're doing the best we can. Thank you very much. And as I say, we had a discussion with the mayor. We're gonna get back with you, ma'am.
My thing is, I don't want to talk about things.
I understand.
You're saying one thing and somebody else.
Okay.
is saying another.
I understand. Thank you, Ms. Sanders. One more thing, Mr. Mayor, I have on my report.
Yes,
that,
Alderman Frazier.
At the Martin Luther King in Georgia West, the city of Natchez, I don't know if the city of Natchez, the state did it. You know, every year we had a problem with those limbs coming up and the people in the neighborhood can't see when they get out on Martin Luther King. I see where someone sprayed try to kill the trees. But the people in the neighborhood still complaining that those trees need to be cut down so they can really see.
What area
Right
is
there
this?
at the intersection of Martin Luther King and Georgia West Boulevard.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you turn
Uh-huh.
off Georgia West, you know, the trees come up, they can't see when the cars come around the curve. But I think the city sprayed for it, and the limbs and stuff are dying, but they still need cutting back.
All right.
And one more, I don't know if anyone here is from the Natchez Water Works, and it may concern the city and it may not. But I told the person who called me that I would bring it forward. And what is transpiring, I don't know I didn't really know who to tell this person to get in touch with, because what has happened, these people stay outside the city and the county of Morgantown area, but they're complaining about their bills from the Natchez Water Works. So I don't know. I think Mr. Hewitt sold his company out and to someone else, but I think Natchez Water Works is doing the supply of water or something. So I really don't know who to refer this lady to, but they was complaining about the Natchez Water Works and how high the bills was going. It looked like their water bills going up. So I need for someone to, if I find someone to look into that to see what's going on with that.
If you'll, Alderman Frazier, if you'll somehow get a copy of those bills to me, I'll be happy to look into that.
Yes, like I say, these are people that they stay in the county, but you know, they're complaining about the Natchez Water.
And so, yeah, we'll look into that. Just get a copy of those bills and we'll go from there.
Okay, I'll
Thank
do that.
you.
Thank you. That ends my report, and that's it.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderwoman Smith, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to compliment everybody that worked so hard on the State of the City address. Last week, it was really, was it last week? Yes.
Thursday.
Last Thursday. God, time flies. It was a great event, and I know a lot of work was put into it by a lot of our city employees. And I'm going to give them a special call out, and you probably won't like it, but Dustin Hinkle, I know you were, I can't even imagine how much time and effort and was put into it by you. So thank you, especially. And I know Mr. Dillard he had to work and couldn't be here. We missed Alderwoman Irving and Alderman Frazier, but it was a really great celebration of all the things that we've accomplished, all the things we're still working on, and all of the great things to come. So it's a lot of work on a lot of people that we've all come this far in 2 years. So I'm very grateful for that and very thankful. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
You
Thank
did a great job, by the way.
Thank you. Well, appreciate you. And you, it's amazing when we can hear Sarah Carter Smith sing our national anthem.
Oh,
What
yeah.
a blessing that is. The talent we have in Natchez. I see someone nodding out there, Ms. Cozy. You know what I'm
She
talking
can
about.
sing too. We can get her singing too.
We've asked her before,
I know.
we got to ask her again. Alderwoman Irving, you're recognized.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I do want to, I do concur with you about Alderwoman Sarah Carter Smith. She sings like a hummingbird.
Well,
So she does a great,
appreciate that.
great rendition of that. Thank you, Sarah. I want to begin with keeping my colleague in prayer, and that's Alderman Dillard. He's not here with us tonight. Talked with him earlier today, and he shared some information. So I just hope all is well with him, and he continued to heal. The other thing I want to address is me not attending our city address last Thursday. I had a family emergency. Had a city emergency, and my grandbaby was ill,
I'm so sorry.
and so she had surgery on yesterday. So we were
Yeah.
from Natchez to Jackson, and finally we had surgery on yesterday. So I'm going to ask you to keep my son and his family in prayer. I also want to say that I visited the Aquatic Center. It's been a week or better, and it was brought to my attention about the pool cover. It had not been installed, and so as I reflected on our minutes, our meetings, and our discussion in our meetings, we said that we would have the pool cover installed by this summer. Well, summer is ending, and what I observed out there is that the boxes are drying out, and I hope there's not parts in there that can rust. I don't know if any of you all have been out there, but it's lying to the side where visitors come in to watch. So the boxes are tearing up. The actual cover itself, the plastic is, when the wind blows, it's everywhere because it's dry rot because of the heat. And so, I think that there's a great concern that we have. We ordered the pool cover. And so my question is, what is the delay in it not being installed at this point? Because last summer, this was the conversation a year ago, that we would have the pool cover installed, by the upcoming season. And it's being utilized. You all, it's such a beautiful pool that Aquatic Center is out there. That property is a beautiful piece of property, but to preserve it, we've got to get our cover on it. I mean, that's needed. I mean, daily, so that we can have access to it. That would, I don't know, but probably would help cut back on some of the maintenance, that you have because of the debris that can come in and out or in the water. So those are the kinds of things we need to consider, with getting the pool cover done as soon as possible. And so my next question is, who's accountable for that? Who do we ask? Because that's been a year. That's something that we know it needs to happen.
I was told the commission was seeing to that. Does it not been
So
done?
that's something we need to bring up tomorrow as well in that meeting, because that's something that needs to take place.
That's
So
right.
please add that to the agenda, Mayor.
Well, as we discuss the pool tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
certainly.
Thank you. The other thing I want to bring, on Brenham Avenue at the Natchez Waterwork property, the wrought iron fence, there's been an accident. I did bring it to Chief Daughtry's attention. I don't know if anyone filed a report of any kind, but the wrought iron fence is down. Some of the posts are down, the brick posts are down with it as well. And my concern is this gives, because there's nothing on that property now but our water tanks, if I'm correct, the water wells. And my concern is we have residents that can walk on that property, cause, someone could drown or possibly damage what's there. So it's city property. And so the interest is to try to maybe repair, get the fence done so that
Okay.
everyone doesn't have access. But as of right now, you can just walk on the property.
Thank
That's
you.
something that's never been
I'm
done
making
before.
a note of it. We had not been told about that. Thank
Right.
you.
Okay. Montevideo Jubilee. That's going to be this weekend. I'm asking everyone here, the mayor and board of aldermen members, to please come out and enjoy the events that we have taken place. We have our flyer here. You all have our flyer. I'm going to give a copy of this. So let me just read some of the things that we have here. First of all, we're celebrating our 32nd annual Montevideo Jubilee. We will start with our Freedom March, and that's going to begin at the corner of Minor Street and Dr. Martin Luther King Street at 9:30. We have guests from all over the state that will be attending here on Saturday. So I'm just going to ask everyone, City of Natchez, everyone to please come out and join us if you can, all possible, Saturday morning for our march. From there at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., we have our Amos Pope Gospel Hour. And that was a pastor who was very instrumental in getting that gospel hour started that many years ago. And so we kept that name on. That family still resides here in the Mislew area. They will be attending as well. There we will be recognizing members of the mayor of board of aldermen. And you all, if you're available, please come so that you will receive your appreciation certificate. Mayor, you will be given a token for appreciation as well. We have the former mayors that will be there as well. Then we have from 12 to 7 p.m. community events such as guest speakers that will be coming, voter registration, 4-H registration. We have bingo for all ages. We have waterfall for the Natchez Fire Department. Thank you, Chief Arrington and your staff. We really appreciate that. We'll be giving away school supplies, Mississippi Food Network food giveaway. We have a barbecue grill cook-off there. We have judges that are coming in and participate. We have health and wellness from Jefferson Comprehensive Clinic that will be there, representatives there. We have the National Council of Negro Women who will be there to provide us with PPE equipment for COVID, and we're asking that we all try and stay safe. We have door prizes that will be given. But one of the things that we've done this year, we have a band that's coming. And so the band this year is free, you all, and we're asking everyone to come out and enjoy. The name of the band is Anissa Hampton and the H-Funk Band. They're from Jackson, Mississippi. And so we ask that you bring your lawn chairs and come and enjoy a feast with us over in Montevideo. Thank you, Mayor. And that
Thank
is my
you.
report.
Thank you, Alderman.
And I will leave a copy of this. Mr. Hinkle, is it possible that you could put this on our side? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And I am so sorry that a family commitment that I was not aware of until recently is going to prevent me from being there Saturday. I think I told you Monday, but I certainly am going to promote it and urge everyone to come out. And I've got to call Reverend Marvel and
Yes.
apologize to him. It's just so hard keeping up with all of the things
Oh, yeah.
that are on our calendars these days. But you've put a lot of work into that, and we really wish you a great success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Alderman Davis.
Oh, yeah. The Fishing with Father event was a success. I had plenty of parents and kids, there, at least 51, but that's the final count we had. Actually, it was more than that. A lot of them left. But a lot of the parents and other people, they wanted to do it more than once a year. I told them, hey, we'll see about it next year. My plan is to do it every year, though. And
That's awesome.
I would like to thank the City of Natchez, Home Bank, UMB, the Fire Department, the Police Department, Colin, Mississippi Wildlife and Fishery, the Natchez Transit, Alderman Hall, Mayor, the Sports Center, our cook, James Abraham, and the Natchez Inc. These were some of our sponsors, people who helped out with fishing with the fathers and stuff. It was a nice event. That ends my report.
So great event. And let the record show, I've got to get my personal donation to you, Megan. And so hit me up for it. It's just been so busy.
Send an email.
Alderman Davis, you really did a great thing here. Thanks for all you do. And Alderman Davis, I also want to say this. We spoke to it a little bit at the State of the City, but I'm really, really excited about what's about to happen with the fire departments. And I really thank Alderman Davis, who is the chair of the fire committee, for a few months ago making sure he grabbed me and got me in the car with Chief Arrington, and as a result, we're about to, as a mayor and board, do something about it. But you've really shown a lot of leadership there, Alderman Davis. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, got one more thing. I also talked to you about, we've been doing a lot of stuff about the fathers. We've been doing more things like with the mothers too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. We can't wait to hear what that's going to be.
Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, I had one other thing.
Yes, Alderman.
This is the Angelity House. I've stated several months ago about the boards that are down there with the nails.
Yes.
They're still there.
I know. We've got to go and look and determine what the city's going to do about that property.
Okay.
It's been on my mind. It really has,
Okay.
even as early as, late as today. Let's make sure we follow up on that. I know Jody Rudder's not here. Richard, let's make sure we discuss this tomorrow. Angelity House.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Dillard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Short report. I think if the Public Works Director is there, he will be presenting to the board a cost estimate. There's a start effort at the Auburn House. That's the only property the city owns, and I guess it is. And anyhow, I couldn't get a quote for front work to, I would say deforestation. I'm trying to think what the word is, but anyhow, to clean up that stretch in front of Auburn. And Justin there?
He is not, but he has mentioned this to me.
Well, I would like to, he gave me a quote, and it's like $4,450 from, I think the current draft charter we have under contract, Mr. Jenkins, to begin, dealing with the overgrowth, there in front of the Auburn House on Docket Avenue. I can wait for him to make a motion to get that approved, but we need to proceed with that.
I tell
Second
you,
the motion.
I tell you, if you want to go ahead and make a motion, we know we have ample funds in our community development fund. We know that that project is long overdue, and we thank you for bringing this forward. If you want to make a motion, we'll entertain it. Alderman.
Second.
Okay. Alderwoman Smith just said she would second it.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't
I didn't hear
matter.
you.
Alderwoman
Okay.
Irving, Alderwoman Irving has seconded
I didn't
that.
hear her.
Okay. So the motion is to dedicate the funds to, and we believe it will be $4,450 to pay David Jenkins the amount needed for cleanup in front of Auburn. Any discussion?
But I do
Yes,
wanna ask this.
Alderwoman
If
Irving.
he's cleaning up, is he gonna remove it as well
Yeah.
with that? Okay.
I believe removal is included, Alderman Dillard?
Yeah, I was gonna say yes, and I do want the board to be advised, and the public as well, is that, for some time now, after we start this, it's gonna look pretty rough. And it may take, 2 seasons, but this is the initial effort to, address the overgrowth at the Auburn Mansion on Duncan Avenue, which is owned by the city of Natchez. And, but yes, it would be the cleanup and removal of debris, albeit organic and vegetative. Thank you.
Call for the question.
All right. Question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Alderman Dillard, does that conclude your report?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Alderwoman
Mr. Mayor, I have
Smith?
one request that I forgot about. I would like to see us, we know that we're having a problem. People are not following our ordinances with their yards, their upkeep and their homes and properties. And I feel like we need to do some kind of campaign through the paper, through our website, through your weekly talks that you do on the radio as well as on Facebook, to make it clear what they are. I mean, people are leaving parking all over their yards. We have a code that you can't do that. You cannot park cars. Cars are for driveways, not for yards. And we've got, abandoned vehicles. We have plants growing in houses. A couple in my ward let plants grow in their house. It's gotten out of hand. And I know we've requested tickets to be started, get back on that. So I want to make sure that's going to move forward and that we get strict on this, because we have so many great things going in Natchez.
Yes.
And then you look around and you see
Okay.
that we
I
all need to take
completely
care of our
agree.
own properties. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Completely agree.
And I might
Thank
add to
you.
that if I may.
Yes, Alderwoman
I
Irving.
think the state needs to take care of their property too, because
Yes.
it
Yeah.
sits in our neighborhoods.
Yes.
And so I have several locations that it's not being cut because it's state property,
Yes.
but it's not being cut. Look at the property
We have to
on
do that.
716
Yes.
Monroe Street.
Yes.
That needs to be addressed real bad.
Yes, it does.
Monroe Street, yes, sir. Then Armstrong Fidelity Tire, they have several locations on South Concord. We just had trees to fall on one of the properties there, that fell across and on someone else's property there.
Mhm.
So that needs to be taken care of. It's about 3 feet of grass there.
Mhm.
So we have about 5 pieces of property across the railroad track coming up South Concord.
Mhm.
That's state property. It needs to be cut. It poses a health and safety
would-
issue.
It would help us if you would write any addresses down, and this
Okay.
is for every alderman.
That's right.
If you would just write addresses down and
Okay.
get them to us so we can look into that.
Okay.
Thanks to your efforts, I'm happy to report that over the past 2 years, we have successfully seen to the demolition of over 40 properties in Natchez. Over 20 of those, the city has brought down, and the remainder, the property owners brought down because we were going to bring them down and they didn't want us to. And so things are beginning to work better, but we definitely have ways to go. I will say that we have lost count of the yards that Public Works has been cutting over the last couple of years to just manage things, and that's under our adjudicated property program. But we definitely need to be moving aggressively into a better direction. So with your help, we will. Get us those addresses so we can look into
I sure
that.
will, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Do we have any additional information on the effort I know we put in place to try to find out what the county owes through the taxes of sale of
I
properties?
don't have anything to report right
Okay.
now, but we need to,
But it,
we
just
need to
for
have
the
an
public
update
knows,
on
we're
that
looking
very
into that.
we are.
Because that's
We know that
responsibility
there's
to
money
them.
there that is owed to
Yeah,
the city.
to the city. Thank you,
Mhm.
Mr.
That's our
Mayor.
agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Yes. All right. We're in the officials' reports, and I always recognize any official has a report during that time, Alderwoman Hall, including you. I think we have now concluded that section, but we are following our agenda. And these are all important matters to discuss while we're together. We now move to the city clerk's report. Approval of the claims docket. Madam Clerk?
Yes, a request for approval of the 2nd July 2022 claims docket.
What is the pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion?
Yeah, I do.
Yes,
Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Irving.
I just want, and I think it's the very last page. I think it is. Let me see. if I can have it. And it was a total, account number 348.
Yes.
348,
On page
72 maybe.
43 is the last page.
Page 41 and page 42 both have items from the 348 fund.
Okay.
Do you know which vendor it was possibly?
Let's see. Is anyone else? They can go in and look. I'll come to it if there's anyone else.
Okay. Any other questions? Discussion?
I can address both of those payments were part of the recreation bond and the project going on at the North Natchez Park for the youth center. One of them was the architect and the other one was another consultant that's been working on that project, but that's what those two payments were.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion? We'll call for the question. Second?
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Who made the motion?
I did.
Alderwoman Smith.
Okay.
Oh.
We did have the motion. All right. Alderman Davis, you just seconded the call. Okay, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
I need to speak with
Your
you, 'cause
mayor,
I did find what I.
your mayor is very tired. I'm sorry.
We all are.
Slipping a little bit. Yes, Alderman?
Share with Megan, I'll get with her
Okay.
because they are payments. But look-
Next item, Madam
Just let me have-
Clerk.
Next item is my request for approval of the 2nd July 2022 mini claims docket.
What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, second
Second.
by Alderwoman Hall. Discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Dillard.
It would be claim 15877. Mayor, could you take a look at that?
Yes.
I'm just curious, it's just not familiar.
Yes, so that was the comedy talent that was brought in for the talent show that was held at the auditorium. I believe it was this past Friday. And that was actually donated monies that came in for that event that covered this expense. But that was to pay for the comedy talent that was brought in for that.
For the back to school event.
Yes, yeah,
From the recreation. department.
yes, yeah, the recreation's talent show event.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was the mayor's stage name. I just. Fair enough.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the mini docket? We'll call for question. Second,
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
The next item is the retroactive approval for the following interfund transfers. The first one being a transfer of the second installment of the ARPA funds. When these payments were sent to the city, they went directly into the general fund. So we transferred them to the account that is specifically designated for the ARPA fund monies. This payment was $796,513.60. The next transfer was from the ARPA fund to the payroll clearing fund to cover the following payroll expenses that were previously discussed and approved, not to exceed, which they did not, $250,000 for this year's payroll expenses. And we came in, I believe it was at like $243,000 and some change. Do you want me to go through the exact amounts per department?
It's very clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
The final transfer being from the general fund to the Natchez EDA account in the amount of $500. And this was to cover a shortage for the Shift South payments. And we have in the past done transfers from the general fund to cover these payments.
All right. Thank you. What is the pleasure of the board?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Discussion. We'll call for the question.
Call.
Question.
Second.
We will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right. The ayes have it. Next item.
Okay, next item is retroactive approval of the following interfund loan. It was a loan from the Casino Annual Lease Fund to the general fund in the amount of $200,000. And this is set to be repaid once we receive our FEMA and MEMA reimbursement that we are still waiting for the ice storm project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. I will tell you, we have been in touch with the executive team at MEMA who are helping us with the FEMA reimbursement. They have told us it is showing in the system and should be head our way soon.
They didn't give
So
a date,
we're-
Mayor?
They were unable to give a date. They
Unable
said
to-
FEMA has been running behind on reimbursements all across the nation and experiencing, and we understand FEMA is experiencing some administrative issues. I can't speak to that other than to say we aren't the only ones. And it has been frustrating, obviously, because this is for the ice storm that occurred in February of 2021. So we will continue to work with that. Our lobbyists are helping us as well on that, and we're very grateful for the cooperation we are getting from MEMA. We'll call for the question.
Call.
Second.
We'll proceed to a vote. Yes, Alderman Dillard. Yes, on the delay, I will recognize you.
Okay, I do have a question for the clerk now. This $200,000, again, let everyone understand, this isn't part of the $1 million that was set aside from the casino lease fund to the general fund. This is is a separate in addition to that. Am I correct, City Clerk?
That's correct. This is just a loan. We have utilized the budgeted transfer amount to date, and so this is a loan in addition to that, due to the delays in the reimbursement.
Okay, so yeah, and like I said, I know there's a cash balance, and we can talk about that later, but I mean, I'm thinking that's what this $200,000 is coming out of. And as you stated, and it was written, that it will be repaid. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Dillard. The question has been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Yeah, the ayes have it. Motion carries.
Okay, the next item on my report is a request for approval of and the authorization for the mayor to sign the memorandum of understanding and the related documents that were sent to us by the Mississippi Department of Finance. These are required documents before we can receive the $500,000 from the state for the bridge lighting project. The memorandum of understanding basically just lays out that these monies are specifically for that project, and we will have to open a separate bank account to fund these monies, et cetera.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. We'll have discussion. I want to just share this, as was shared at the State of the City Thursday. This represents enough money for us to restore the lights on the bridge for phase one. And this will mean that very soon, we hope, our consultants working with us now on a plan to bring back lights. They will, on this first phase, we will not have movement, we will not have color, because this is not enough money for that, but it will be beautiful again. We are looking at a plan to have them a little more dimly lit to cut down on light pollution. And also, we are in discussions with individuals who are helping us to understand migratory bird habits and how we can manage the lights on the bridge in a way to not endanger migratory birds. So we're very conscious and very cognizant of that. Excited and hope that it happens soon. Further discussion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, the ayes have it, motion carries, and we thank our leaders in the Mississippi Legislature and our governor for their support in this project. Next item.
The next item that I have is approval of a resolution to allow the mayor and the city clerk to become the signers and to open a new bank account as required for the sole use of the funds received from the state of Mississippi for the bridge lighting project.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. The motion was made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. We'll call for the question.
Called.
We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Or do we need to do that roll call vote open the bank account? We're good. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. Next item.
Next item is request for approval of the contract renewal for the AmFirst insurance, which is the hospital gap insurance.
Mr. Mayor.
And I have some clarification on this as a result of a meeting I had this afternoon. And Alderwoman Hall, we do need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith and seconded by Alderman Davis. Let me give this report. It may answer questions. I didn't even know this was coming up on the agenda because our health insurance is not renewed until October 1st, but this company actually just wishes to go ahead and get this renewal done. This is a premium saver plan that allows our employees, if they want a better deductible than $1,000, they can actually purchase a lower deductible, such as $500. This is renewing at flat renewal. This is the same rates it was last year. It just is kind of surprising they're bringing it to us this early. I didn't even expect it to be on the agenda until last minute. But it's good news. It's a flat renewal of something that we've already had the last 2 years as a part of our health insurance plan for our citizens.
It's not a mandatory plan.
Oh, this is all an option.
Okay.
Already, the plan has a $1,000 deductible, but this allows an employee to buy a $500 deductible
Mr. Mayor.
at their expense, not the city's.
Yeah, this was the one that our employees requested. They wanted this
Right.
last time. So
That's right.
This is a good thing for them.
Yes. Alderwoman Hall, did you
I
have
was
anything
just going
to
to say
add?
that the insurance committee had not seen this. That's all.
Yes, I know. But I didn't see any need for it to go to the committee after I met with Mr. Parker today, being that it's a flat renewal. But anything that affects the insurance going forward, of course. But as I said to you yesterday, I didn't even know this was on the agenda. But once I met with him, he told me about it, and then I saw it on the agenda. But it's a flat renewal, same as it was last year. Yes, well, Megan, you had a
Well, I was
point.
just gonna say, this is actually something that I received back in June. It was
I
sent to
see
me.
that.
And, kind of let it sit on my desk waiting because I knew, we were not dealing with any insurance, related items at this time. But just for the sake of me working on the budget and not wanting to get lost in the shuffle, they did want it back by mid-September.
Okay.
So I figured we'd go ahead and address it.
All right. But I will say the insurance committee chaired by Alderman Davis will meet when the time comes to consider our renewal and any changes. And I asked Mr. Parker today when that will happen. He said he's waiting on word from the company. And it's a little soon. They're still waiting for some claims to be processed and then have the reports for us. And then we'll make that step. Next item.
Okay, the final item is more just informational. It had been requested that I provide copies of the spreadsheets where I track all of the interfund loans and interfund transfers, and also to give the board members an updated debt service schedule. So that was in your packets as well, for the bonds, for the loans, and for all of the interfund transfers and loans.
Thank you. On the first agreement, we do need to, I thought I called the question. Did we not actually take the vote on
They
it?
didn't take the vote.
Okay, we will proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion for the renewal for first, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you. I apologize. I've clocked about a 14-hour day so far, and I'm just failing. I guess I need a little caffeine. Are there any comments or discussion on the spreadsheets? I've got to say, Megan, you are really on top of it. Great report, great information. Alderman Dillard, did you have any comments? I know you had requested the information.
Yeah, my comment would be just I want to thank the clerk, and I know it's an effort, but these are the kind of efforts that are going to pay off when we start going into, our budget deliberations and considerations, and also the information towards our, outside auditing firm, and it just allows us to, have the tangible, which funds got loans and which didn't. Not having this is a very expensive process, and I just don't want the clerk to be careful. When the mayor lays it on, I said, yeah, be careful. Maybe the next we had a clerk that didn't work out so well for them. But this has been truly a very wonderful thing, and I hope we can keep it going forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Just great. Thank you. All right, that concludes your report.
That does. Thank you.
We
Mr.
will
Mayor.
move now to the city attorney's report. Mr. Callaway.
First, Mr. Mayor, has been requested to draft a golf cart ordinance. It was in your packet last time. Same ordinance proposal is in this packet. There is one change that I was requested to make that I want to make the board aware of. I think it's a good change. When somebody registers their golf cart or low-speed vehicle, they get a map of the city of Natchez that is attached to show them right now the operation of golf carts and low-speed relatively in a downtown setting to see how this works. And if you are a commercial taxi service, somebody had indicated a tipsy driver service they're interested in operating. This board has reserved the right in the ordinance. I made a change allowing this board the territory for those commercial drivers. But that would be the only change that I made to the ordinance since it was in the packet last time. I don't know how to go about this other than ask you, are there any questions? The ordinance.
We would need a motion to approve the ordinance first.
Correct.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Hall. All right, we'll entertain discussion.
This is conjunction to the state ordinance.
Sir,
This is in conjunction with the state ordinance.
this tracks the state law that permitted golf carts and low-speed vehicles on the streets.
And, one more.
Yes,
It's
Alderman.
just all over the city.
The ordinance as it's drafted allows golf carts, it has to be under 35 miles per hour streets. They can't go on these streets that are except to cross. But there is a map that restricts the area that the city lets vehicles in. You should have it attached to your packet. Right now, it's just more or less downtown, see how this works. But this board has the discretion to do what it wants to as far as where the people drive. That's the directions I was given in drafting this. Actually worked with with our city planner. That's her map. I don't know how to make maps.
So I do have a question.
Yes.
With it being downtown, so
all right.
are we making this for all citizens or just for tours or what, based on this? Because this looked like a tourist area. I mean, to afford the members downtown that have their services offered, they can use the golf cart now to do that. And then I'm asking that question.
Anybody
Okay.
can
Anyway,
register a golf cart for $100 with the city clerk and get a sticker. And operate in that zone
okay.
according to this ordinance.
All right, further discussion?
Call for the question.
The question has been called. Before I entertain a second to that, I do have to say one thing that we have a major tourist attraction that seems to be excluded from this map, and that is Monmouth. A lot of people stay at Monmouth.
It was supposed, my understanding, I didn't
If
check
you
the
look at
map.
that,
Mayor, 'cause
it
it's
is. I think
35.
this blue line that cuts across is
It is.
it is by accident because it is supposed to
Yeah.
incorporate Monmouth and for that matter, I don't think it can incorporate Linden because Melrose, the speed limit on Melrose is above. Yes. Alderman Smith.
It's 35 until you get to, and it can include Melrose
Mhm.
because it stops there and becomes 45.
The speed limit
Yes.
increases
So they
to
could pick people
45.
up from Melrose.
I would recommend that the map be amended.
Yeah.
I also am thinking we have with us the owners of Concord Quarters, and that is also a major venue featured in Southern Living just last month.
Mhm.
Is that included on this map?
It's not.
I think it should be.
It's not. It should be, but it's not included.
I hate to throw, I want us to approve this tonight, but I would say that we don't need to exclude Concord Quarters, Monmouth, or Linden. And for that matter, Melrose, which is a national park property, and Melrose being under the speed limit of 35.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry. We've been so busy. I should have pointed this out
And
earlier.
Concord is,
Maybe
Ms.
Yeah. Yes.
Amend it with
Oh.
the motion with amended map coverage.
Yes. I think what we could do is I would like to entertain a motion to amend the map. This is an amendment to the motion to amend the map to include the historic properties of Concord Quarters, Monmouth, Linden, and Melrose.
So move.
Motion made by Alderwoman Irving, seconded by Alderman Davis. Who was the author of the motion? Alderwoman Smith? Do you accept that as a friendly amendment?
I do, Mr. Mayor.
Who seconded that motion? Alderwoman Hall, do you accept that as a
Yes.
friendly amendment? All right. So the motion is now amended so that the golf cart routes include that area, those areas
Thanks.
that we have described.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
I'm glad y'all are here. We will call for the question.
Called.
Question has been called. We will proceed to a vote. With this being an ordinance, we need a roll call vote. Alderwoman Hall,
Aye.
Alderman Frazier,
Aye.
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Aye.
Alderman Davis,
Yeah.
Alderman Dillard.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Motion carries. Now, Mr. Callaway, explain, this doesn't mean they can open up shop tomorrow. We have a process for the ordinance to take effect as 30 days. Is that correct?
Absolutely. We have to publish this ordinance, and it'll take effect 30 days from the date of publication, which I will get done as soon as we get this signed. And after that, there's a registration fee of $100, and they'll get a little sticker to go on the golf cart, which we need to invent, Madam Clerk.
Okay.
I have one more question.
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
That, you say they get a sticker.
Can we use that brand?
Do they have a stipulation on how many vehicles you can register? Or do the city have anything to do with that? Because if you're running a business, they gonna,
We don't. I mean, the ordinance is $100 per vehicle registered.
okay.
That's
All right.
what the statute, the statute says reasonable fee. I kind of set ours on the high end.
Okay, and that's an annual fee.
It's just a registration fee. That's the only one that
Registration.
statute allows.
It's just one-time registration. fee.
Uh,
I thought surely we could have an annual fee.
I would like to. I've read everybody's ordinances that are out there and read the statute again. It
You know-
permits us to do a registration fee. If we can
Yes,
add one, we'll add an annual fee, but we've got.
I would like to entertain a motion to add to make that a recurring annual fee. If permissible, pending the research by the
Fixate
city
laws.
attorney.
It's a state law.
Yeah.
It may be.
And I mean, we could set that renewable fee, whatever we want to, but it needs to be an annual fee. I would like to entertain that motion.
No,
No?
let me,
Mr.
No,
Mayor,
Mr.
with all
Callaway.
due respect, for the first year, they're gonna have to pay $100 for registration fee. I'll look at that again.
Okay.
I'm afraid we're gonna run into a taxation.
We can impose that at another date if we needed to. We just want to
And I
make
didn't
sure
mean to tell the mayor what to do.
we're
just
fair.
now.
No.
Why we have
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Frazier.
excuse me. This is gonna be a local ordinance and a state ordinance. Let me see, can I say this? We are considered as well, we're a tourist town. What about people who coming in here and decide to say, well, I can bring my golf cart and run them down the street, so
It provides for a day rate, $10, but you can only do it twice a year. In other words, you can't just, we don't want
Yeah, 'cause
people
they'll
abusing
pull
that
up
$10
somebody-
day rate.
say somebody just pull up and say, well, I'm gonna park my vehicle here and I'll ramp my golf cart, I can ride all around town.
They stop by and see Miss Megan and get a $10 sticker.
That's all I
Twice a
need some
year, huh?
clarification.
All right. Thank you.
Call for the question.
All right. We actually aren't making that motion. We've already had the motion passed to
The
do
regular
the,
one.
so we aren't going to have the annual renewable motion at this time, but we will consider that as we move forward. I just know this, you renew your tag every year. You renew your business license every year. It's just one of those things, it makes sense, does it not?
It does.
Okay, Alderwoman Smith?
Just real quick, and I don't want to open a major discussion, but with the Tipsy Taxi, those little cars have license plates, don't they, or do they not? Because they're going to be getting renewal every year, but golf
That's-
carts do not have license plates,
Golf carts do not.
right? So
No,
I'm not sure about the low speed cars, I guess is my question.
Yeah,
We'll have to find out.
The only provision for a fee that I could find or something that the city can recoup was a one-time registration
Okay.
fee that is good for the life of the cart, while the owner has it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Callaway, next item.
I have proposed, in accordance with directions given to me, an ordinance, and I was reading the ordinances in light of what Alderman Dillard said. The open container ordinance was redone to pave way for the Go Cup ordinance that's in place. So some of that language that was referred to, I think, was taken out in that amendment to make the Go Cup ordinance. I just wanted to make it clear, if it is this board's direction and as it is their discretion to do, no alcoholic beverages at public swimming pools. That says no open containers or consumption of alcohol. And I added to the ordinance on any public street, sidewalk, or public swimming pool. And I would like to put the word property in there in light of Mr. Alderman Fraser's discussion earlier. So now the only, I'm adding on a public street, comma, sidewalk, comma, or any public swimming pool property located within the city limits.
So moved.
All right, a motion has been made by Alderwoman Hall, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. I have one question. This will not apply to a swimming pool at a hotel. That is considered private
It's
pool.
privately owned.
We just want to clarify that. I don't want anyone to think we're trying to dictate what happens at Magnolia Bluffs or the Natchez Grand.
This is just for the swimming pool, not for
A
anything
public
else.
pool.
Public pool.
Public
And I
pool.
put public pool because you want your legislation to be proactive. And if we get it to where we build one in the north part of town, then this will apply also at any other public pool that we build in the future.
Okay. Discussion? Call for the question?
I have.
Yes, Alderman Fraser.
I have one. You say, I'd like to make this perfectly clear. You said it's just for, this is section 30 that you, of this ordinance.
Section 6.
630. Hey,
Yeah. Hey, that's all that's all that this board would be amending. And really, the only changes in that law, in the second line, on any public street, and then it says street or sidewalk in the ordinance currently, and I put street, comma, sidewalk, comma, or any public swimming pool property will be the additional language located within the city limits. Those are the only words really changed in the ordinance.
this what I'm trying to be, because it's confusing. It said unlawful for any one person or several people to possess open container alcohol beverage or consumption of such alcohol beverage on any public street, sidewalk, or any public pool. Now, I can do this refer to out in nightclubs or outside sidewalks or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now in the city, the only place you can have open containers is in the recreational district, the leisure district. This board passed that law earlier.
The
prior board.
Probably, yes, but this board.
This is, to me, we're just, it's okay for you to possess alcohol in the downtown area, but if you get out beside the downtown area, people got these nightclubs and stuff, you can't possess alcohol. Say like, if that's correct what I'm hearing, say like you got a club down south, or you got one up north, on the north side of town. It's illegal for them to possess alcohol and consume alcohol on any public streets or sidewalk in public. Now, I could see the public pool in the city limits next, but when you start talking about that, it seems as though, I know we're a tourist town and everything. I just want to say it's a tourist town, but when you start about just confining it to one area, that's to me is kind of like discriminatory, because you got Miss Kozo that got a business, and she might have somebody have parties and stuff. They might come outside in the yard and be drinking, something like that.
That can
Or
do
walk
that.
out.
That's
Do
on
that?
private property.
That's
That's private property.
Okay, but
Public street.
But if she come out, but I'm just saying, this is why it confused me. If it was the nightclub, they come outside drinking. That's, to me, it's kind of like in the clouds to me. So I don't know.
Mr. Mayor, the previous.
Yes, Alderwoman Hall.
The previous administration approved the open container law ordinance.
That's right. All we're doing here is adding the pool to the definition.
Absolutely.
That's all we're doing.
Most of our nightclubs, like Hucky's or Belmont or whichever one, they don't want people sitting in their parking lots drinking. That's where trouble
But they
happens.
do.
Yeah.
But
But they don't want it.
They don't want it, but they
But
do.
it's
A lot of
private,
places
private.
don't want it. But they
Yeah.
do.
but we're talking about public
Right.
streets. This is what we're talking about. We're not even talking about private.
Right now, I just want to say
Let's
this.
move on, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Let's move on.
Yeah, okay. All I want to say is all we're doing is taking an existing law and we're just putting pool in there.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing. The open carry or the open, the district will remain as it is. The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. Alderwoman Hall,
All right.
Alderman Frazier,
Hey,
Alderwoman Smith,
Aye.
Alderwoman Irving,
Nay.
Alderman Davis, Alderman Dillard.
They're voting.
The ayes have it. Motion carries.
You want people walking down your neighborhood.
Thank you.
They do it anyway. I mean, they do it all
The
over.
next item,
Is that a good thing?
Mr.
But
Callaway, the
again,
next
you have to
item.
look at- I think that warrants public hearing.
Mayor, the fractured furniture sale, I'd anticipated Walter Tipton being here tonight. He's not here.
yes,
here.
He is. He's
Where
right
is
there.
he?
That Mr.
Been
Tippett
waiting
Mayor,
patiently.
He been faithful.
You were,
And so is Miss Cozy.
I don't know what that's a testament to, but I couldn't see you.
Welcome to the club.
I should have moved him up. I am so sorry. I should have moved him up, but I'm glad Miss Cozy and Mr. Cozy were here when we were covering that recent discussion, because had I not seen them out there, I may have forgotten.
Mr.
And then I
Tipton,
would have been in
apologize. I did not know you were out. I couldn't, at the poll, you were just sitting in the perfect place for me to not see you. Mr. Tipton, you have some property at the convention center that is damaged. Would you explain that to the board for us, please? Tell us what you got.
Yes, so we opened the convention center in April of 2002, so we're over 20 years old. And, we initially purchased tables and chairs, and after 20 years of hauling around, we have a few that are damaged. And it's really kind of not economical for us to repair those damaged tables and make them completely usable. So we're talking about just 10 8-foot tables, 8 round tables, and about 30 chairs. And, chairs, we have 1,200 chairs. All of this is a small percentage of our total furniture, but we cannot just throw, this is all public property, we can't just throw it in the trash. And our event coordinator wanted to do that about a month or two ago. But interesting enough, about 2 weeks after she told me she wanted to dispose of this, Ms. Cozy contacted us and asked whether we had any damaged tables and chairs that we wanted to dispose of, and offered to purchase those for a minimal amount. And they're going to take them and refurbish them. But even though they refurbish them, if, sometime in December, we all of a sudden have a need beyond our equipment, and they have them available after they're refurbished, they're going to lend them back to us, which sometimes I think they covered, we'll put a cloth on or something. So we just wanted to dispose of these 10 8-foot tables, 8 round tables, 30 chairs, by allowing the Cozies to purchase them for $250, and they're going to refurbish them. They're also going to make them available, say, if they're needed at minor deal, they're already over there from that part of town, so that would be a good thing for us. So
Mr.
we
Mayor.
looked at the state law and it allows for this.
I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderwoman Smith has made the motion,
Second.
seconded by Alderwoman Hall. We'll have discussion. Alderman Frazier?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I would just like to say, that really is a good deal for the city. Since we're in the process, we are redoing the convention center, we're gonna improve the bond. So, as you say, it's been there 20 years, I'm quite sure. Ms. Cosby also had a space in the room to store those chairs from a place of business and stuff. And for that amount of money, if she don't need all of them, and I also say, whatever else you got in there, I think the city need to hold a garage sale. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. We will call for the question.
Well, I have one question.
Mr. Callaway?
Just one question, make sure we're legal here. You know, if it's under $1,000, we can approve the private sale. That $250 she's offered, do you think that's fair? And is that about what the property is worth in your experience?
Yes.
All right, let's make sure the minutes reflect that. Okay,
Call for the question.
the question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, yes. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Tipton.
all.
Now we
And-
can make them honorary alder people because they sat so long.
They sat so long, I know, my goodness. And we still have an executive session in my report. Alderman Smith, anything?
No.
Okay, Mr. Attorney, next item?
I'm gonna ruffle feathers, but I'm skipping over Rebels Park tonight, Mr. Mayor. The ADSI is more of an informational, I guess when I was filling this out for the clerk, I put discussion and consideration of, but right now the board just needs to be aware that the contract with ADSI allowed for consumer price index increase annually. Their anniversary was in May. They've sent it with the June bill, so
And so no vote is necessary. It's
no vote is
automatic.
necessary. It is
Okay.
$1.03 extra per unit.
Yikes. All right.
Lastly, do need a motion to authorize approve the endo opioid settlement and authorize the mayor to sign the release. It was a $9 million settlement. The city's portion, you don't need to type this because this is such a number, 0.107953230.1%.
Wow.
So we're not getting rich off of this one, but we are getting any money's positive money. So we need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Alderman Davis has made the motion. Alderwoman Irving seconded. Any discussion? We'll call for the question.
Thought we would get more money
We will
than that.
proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries.
That's all I
All
have,
right.
Mr. Mayor.
Mayor's report, we've already taken care of the first, second, and third items. The grant for the Natchez U.S. Colored Troops Monument, we are not discussing that tonight because there's actually more work to do before that can be applied for. We will miss that round on that particular grant right now, but there are others that are coming up in the near future that we're looking at. And so we will bring you more when we know more. I do have some miscellaneous updates for you. This just came today, and I wanted to go ahead and bring it up tonight because this is something I think that really just doesn't need to wait. AJFC, as you know, nonprofit that serves 7 counties, including our county. They have brought to us what is a great program for our citizens, and it is a LIHWAP grant, which provides low-income household water assistance. And this will assist individuals who qualify with water bills, wastewater, sewer bills, stormwater fees, groundwater fees, reconnection fees, late fees, and lien removal fees. It has been brought to my attention today in a meeting with Ms. Erling Collins that Natchez and Adams County are the only city and county in the 7 counties yet to adopt this. I said, well, it hasn't been brought to us. And so it is at no cost to us. It is just to make this available to those who are in need in our community. And it is and basically anyone who already qualifies for the low income home energy assistance program, which is already in place, will qualify for this. And applicants' household income must be at or below 60% of the state median income to qualify for these programs. The program is not administered by the city or waterworks. It is administered and handled through the AJFC. So this is just a very good program to be made available to our citizens. It will require that our attorney approve the agreement. And I would ask that the attorney approve this agreement in conjunction with Mr. Walter Brown, the attorney for the board at Waterworks, because they also will have to ratify this. It has to be ratified by us and by them. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the city's participation with this. Alderman Davis has made the motion.
Second.
And seconded by Alderman Frazier. And I want to just say, as part of that motion, we will instruct our attorney to coordinate with the attorney for Waterworks to make sure all questions are resolved prior to this being presented for the mayor's signature. Any further discussion? Call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. And we are going to encourage Adams County to also do this, just as the city is doing it. While we are talking about Waterworks, I want to bring to your attention that there is a vacancy on the board at Waterworks due to the unfortunate passing of Pam Murphy. And Ms. Murphy's term expires on June 30th of 2024. Mr. Walter Brown has informed me that the board, following their procedures in years past, have come up with a list of proposed replacements, candidates. They've narrowed that down, and we're waiting to see what that final list is. And I will be then contacting, I understand it will probably be a list of 3, which then would mean we would need no subcommittee review. It would just come to the whole board. And sometime in the next 2 weeks, we can have a special called meeting to allow interviews of those 3 individuals. And so I'll have more information for you within the next day or 2. I just wanted to inform you that that process is about to take place. Also, I am very pleased to tell you that if you recall, and it was in the minutes from our meeting, we just approved the meeting held last month at NAPAC. It was actually held this month on July 1st, but it feels like it's been about a month ago. At that meeting, Frankie Legault presented to us that there is a grant that is being obtained through the Mississippi Department of Archives and History for about $16,000 in improvements to various properties. The board voted unanimously to allow that grant process to go forward with respect to 3 properties: the fountain, repair of the fountain at Memorial Park, replacement of the roof at a waiting, an old transit waiting post. It's a covered building right there at the first entrance to the city cemetery. Mm-hmm. And then also for a needed project at NAPAC, which turns out is a lighting improvement, lighting upgrade project. Well, the good news is that the grant is going to cover everything except about $1,300 to finish out the lighting project at NAPAC. NAPAC provided bids, the low bid being a subcontractor, ABC Electrical Services. The city is not paying this, NAPAC is, so we don't have to go through those processes, but we're just basically saying the grant will cover everything. This bid actually is $10,500. There's $9,200 in the grant for this. So I'm asking that the city would make a donation to NAPAC for the remaining $1,300. Alderwoman Hall has made the motion, seconded by Alderwoman Smith, and this will allow for an upgrade in lighting to include LED, to include various replacements for track lighting and track lighting bulbs, and a much better lighting of the large room with 12 more lights being installed there. It's going to be a great improvement to the museum.
I have a question.
Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
I am all in favor of seeing that happen, but where will we be getting, which fund will be getting the
$1,300 will come from our community development fund. I'm sorry. We have an ample balance there. And so, well, it can come from public properties. We have a good balance there. Which fund would y'all prefer for it to come from?
Public properties.
Public properties, okay.
Public property.
That, y'all both made the motion and seconded, so I assume you're amending it to add that it will come from public properties. Thank you. All right, further discussion? The question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. Yes, Alderman Dillard, I'm sorry.
I almost missed that, but no, I also agree. I just wanted to make that comment. Making those decisions without being fully aware. But I think that's an appropriate expenditure of those monies, and I look forward to the installation of the lights and the improvement that we can all appreciate. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, the question's been called. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Exciting. I do need to provide to you a Natchez update. You will find in your email boxes the Natchez report that was released Thursday at our State of the City. This Natchez report is medical economic development for Natchez for the purpose of creating a healthcare hub in Natchez. There are a number of things addressed in the report that you will find interesting and you will enjoy reading. But in particular, the section that I want to call to your attention right now is that does provide for the creation of a medical district, which is our new B5 district. And that district has tentatively been approved by planning, but we have asked them to revisit it at their next meeting to make sure that all of the items included in our Natchez report will be a part of that district, to include residential, retail, and medical, in addition to the commercial provisions that allow for that to be the location of any dispensary related to the medical marijuana industry. So at that, we will at a future date have hopefully a proposal coming to us from planning to establish that new B5 district, and it will include the vision set forth in our Natchez plan. I wanted you to be aware of that. I wanted you to have that plan that's been emailed to you, and we are going to now order print hardbound copies for all of you. It was done by the Horn Group through a grant provided by Natchez Inc. And one of the things that I find most exciting that we mentioned at the State of the City is that it provides for development of Tracetown as a multi-use residential, retail, and medical development. It also includes community hospital, which is now under new management, and we're new ownership, and we're actually looking soon to hear from them on what their exciting plans are there. It includes Doctors Row. It includes the hospital. All of our medical partners that are in that area are in that district, including Mary Perkins Cancer Center, which just put almost $1 million into that facility. But also, if you read the fine print of the plan, it also establishes a great vision that we are working on, but we can't talk about publicly. But it is a goal of ours within the next couple of years to move forward with plans to have a medical school in Natchez, and it will be located in that area. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. Those are some of the exciting things shared Thursday night, and those items are included in that Med Natchez plan. Check your email boxes. You should see it there, and we'll have bound copies for you soon. One last item. There are 5 vacant positions at Natchez Transit. These all require a CDL. They include drivers for our trolley service, the service that is so needed with the uptick coming very soon in tour business. Cruise Viking will soon be arriving, and as announced Thursday, we will be christening the American Cruise Line's new ship, the American Symphony, at noon on August 30th. Please go ahead and mark that date. It will be a christening event under the hill to celebrate the fact that American Cruise Lines has chosen Natchez to be the godmother city, which means future home port for the American Symphony. And everyone, don't forget tomorrow at 10 o'clock, our special call meeting with the county and with the airport stakeholders. It's at, well, 10 o'clock is when we actually did another notice just to make sure there was no confusion, because at 10 o'clock, the actual meeting with Southern Airways begins to discuss air service. And then we will flow immediately after that meeting into the joint meeting with the county to discuss 911, the pole, Morgantown Road, and also the fire service interlocal agreement renewal that is coming up next year. So that said, we are about to have a lot more tourists, a lot more activity. It's important that we get our trolleys going. I want to suggest, I've discussed this with Ms. Bartley, and she is asking, and we talked just minutes before I came in here tonight, and she's asking that we would do what we did for Public Works, and that is that we provide the education training, a CDL, for those 5 driver positions, with the understanding that they will commit to a 2-year commitment with the city. And it's what's going to take to get those positions filled and get our trolleys moving, because she's having trouble getting people hired. So let me, Alderwoman Smith, I need a motion before we go forward with discussion. Alderwoman Hall has made the motion. Alderwoman Irving has seconded. Alderwoman Smith.
I guess my question is that there's no opportunity for them to offer that incentive.
They are pretty tapped out on their budget. They really are.
Okay.
And
Do we have a copy of their budget?
and yes, we
Okay.
do, and she follows it very strictly.
No, I know that. I'm not saying.
And we can look at that. But I was going to suggest, if we're looking for, funds for this, this is a very good use, and we're not talking about a lot of money. We're talking about 5 positions at, I think we're looking at less than 20,000 to get, and they have to stay for 2 years. And I think it would be a very reasonable expenditure of our ARP funds. We are doing it for Public Works. We're doing that though within the Public Works budget. And this, it's just something that is needed. It really is. I would suggest that this would be a proper use of our ARP funds. We're not talking about a whole lot here. Yes, Alderwoman Irving.
Well, did I hear you correct when you said that less than 20,000 annually?
Just once. This is a one-time offer to fill these 5 positions. Once they're filled, that's it. But it's a one-time offer to fill these 5 positions, and they have to agree to
Gotcha.
stay with the city for a minimum of 2 years.
But, okay,
Mhm.
I think that's a great idea. So my next question is, what is their rate of pay?
She has offered. She
Because
is
that was the
paying
problem
either
we had with
14 or
those.
16.
Okay,
I don't have that readily in front of
Okay.
me, I'm afraid. But she said that she is at a competitive wage. It's just a struggle to find people who can take the job and at the same time afford the cost of the CDL program.
I think that's a great job that, $4,000 each.
Mhm.
It's great incentive.
And we can put a not to exceed 20,000 on it.
Mhm.
Alderwoman Hall, you made the motion. Do you accept it that this would be ARP funds not to exceed $20,000, one time only? Okay, Alderwoman Irving is author of the motion.
Yes.
I mean, second.
The motion,
Okay,
yes.
then that's the motion. I will call for the question.
Oh,
All right, we'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Aye.
Okay, the ayes have it, motion carries. Folks, what I am desperately trying to do is to get our trolleys back in service so we can take some pressure off having so many buses piled up under the hill. Thank you so much. We now are at the point, we do have Commander Jones is still here, and Lieutenant Ford, I hadn't even seen you behind the column there. We do have an executive session matter we hope will not take very long, and it pertains a personnel matter in the police department. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed in executive session, Mr. Callaway?
Nothing to worry of, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, that is an open determination. I need a motion to go into executive session for that reason. The motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Are there any opposed to the motion? We will now go into executive session. Let it be reflected in our minutes that the executive session is, well, Madam Clerk, when we get into the room, you'll record for the minutes the time we called it to order and the time then when we came back and adjourned it. Okay. to entertain a motion, and then I will give a report after that, but we're going to entertain a motion to adjourn our executive session.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, seconded by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion on the motion? We'll move to a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have, motion carries. I will now provide this report. We discussed a personnel matter in the police department. No action was taken. We now will entertain a motion, and that motion is to follow a recommended disciplinary action against an individual, police department employee number 2552, a recommendation of 10 days suspended without pay and a reclassification in duties. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderman Davis. Discussion on the motion? We'll call for the question. We'll proceed to a vote. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Alderman Davis, second by Alderwoman Smith. Any discussion? Any opposed to the motion? We stand adjourned. Thank you. See you tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the upstairs, the convention center.